It's the Score North Twin Show.
We do have a Twins on the Grid situation from like last weekend, but
yeah,
we haven't done it yet. We're going to bring it to the show here. It's a very interesting grid. But first, a look back at the Dex Plan 3.0 and a look ahead to the Dex Plan 4.0 as the Twins have won a bunch of games in the last week here. You have given the Twins strict guidelines for each chunk of their schedule so far. Hey, here's the next 3 series. Finish with this record, and you'll continue to be on pace to make the playoffs. So the Dex Plan 1.0 went according to plan.
Mm-hmm.
You had them. This is like a month ago. You had them scheduled to go 9-4. They go 11-2. And then Dex Plan 2.0 looked great. They were right on pace until those last 6 games against the Yankees and the Guardians. They go 0-6. So they were supposed to go 9-7. They went 7-9. The Dex 3.0 plan, you had them going 6-4. They went 7-3 over the last 10 games.
Doing all right.
Astros, Yankees, Pirates, 3-3 on the road. What's the Dex Plan 4.0 here?
All right, Dex Plan 4.0. Longer road trip. Big homestand also coming off that afterwards, and I'm excited for the 5.0 plan that we'll discuss basically 10 days from now when they return. That's a big one. That's a big one there.
Let's not look ahead. Let's focus on 4.0 here, okay?
Trip,
yeah.
okay?
But 3.0 and 4.0 have to also dovetail. This is part of my mad scientist project. All right. So over the 9 games that I have upcoming here, Houston, New York, Pittsburgh, 5-4, which I'm hoping this happens. I don't feel great about 5-4. It's possible, but I think from where they're at in the division, they've won 7 of their last 10 games. All right, they're feeling good, but they have gained a half game on Cleveland during that stretch, which is amazing. You go 7-3, and you only gain a half game in the division. Now they cut some of that lead with Kansas City for the second place spot, so there are positives there. But it is pretty remarkable when you win 7-10 and you only gain a half game on the guy on the division leading team in the Cleveland Guardians. So the 4.0 plan is a 5-4 record, and I can give you also the additional, not caveat, the additional thing I'm looking for in the 5-4 stretch.
Is it don't get swept by the Yankees again?
It's not. It has nothing to do. Actually, this is the first caveat that has only to do with an individual player, actually. I'm kind of changing this up a little bit.
Is it Royce Lewis isn't on the injured list in a week and a half? Love you,
no
Royce.
expectation, not requirements with Royce Lewis, but it has nothing to do with Royce either. So my caveat over these 5-4 stretches, can Pablo Lopez spin back-to-back quality starts after this rough start he has gotten off to?
Okay.
So Pablo, underlying metrics suggest, and this happened almost to a T last year, underlying metrics suggested that there was a lot better pitcher in there than what the traditional ERA showed. With Pablo so far this year, talking to some people too, since his last start, which was on Sunday, today's Friday, May 31st, the sweeper that was a very effective pitch for him last year is not where it is this year. That ball is getting hammered. Now, Pablo honestly is having a home run problem. He's given up a ton of bombs and given up not the solo shots that pitching coaches and pitchers can be okay with. You're okay with giving up solo home runs. You put men on, you give up long balls with crooked numbers, then it obviously becomes a significant problem. That sweeper is getting hammered this year. Opponents have a slugging percentage of .560 against that sweeper. So Pablo has to do
I'm gonna have to rename it. You hit it, you name it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the out-of-stater, the out-of-towner, the upper-decker.
The sweeper to the third
Called the
deck.
bleeper.
The bleeper.
Because it effing gets hit hard every time now.
So he has to do one of two things as a pitcher, as a staff too, with Pete Mackey trying to figure this out. You either have to ditch this pitch or rely on it a lot less. And his fastball can be a pitch that's really good for him. His fastball's been pretty solid for him this year. It's opponents are hitting just 181 against it. He's given up some home runs, but that's life with a 4-seam fastball. Or he has to make some type of different adjustment because right now it's getting hammered mostly middle in on right-handed pitchers. So people are just kind of waiting on that, putting basically almost like a golf undercut swing, and they're pulling that ball for home runs. So can Pablo eliminate those problems with the sweeper, fix the problems with the sweeper, spin that back into quality starts? Because as Royce pointed out, I think a few days ago on X, you look up and down the Twins rotation, it's Pablo Lopez with the highest ERA so far this year.
Yeah.
So can Pablo, your ace, turn things around, put his season back on track, basically just like he did at this point last year?
Too much pressure on Pablo Day. Let's get rid of Pablo Day. Let's stop doing that, okay? It's bad luck. It hasn't worked out so far. I noticed that you were, I think it was 2.0, the plan for Dex. You have now foregone the opportunity to put criteria on series, because in that Yankees Cleveland stretch, they actually, I think, lived up or came incredibly close to the plan being on course. But then I think that you said that they had to take 2 or 3 from both of those teams, and instead they got drilled by both of those teams. So do we not get a prediction or a thought process on, like, win 2 against the Yankees? Heck, perhaps win 2 or 3 against the Pirates.
I'm getting away from that because at the end of the day, they're the wins. So like how they get to 5 wins, how they go 500. What I have learned is it doesn't really I wouldn't say it does not matter, because like let's say they win 5 in a row to start the road trip, and then they get they lose the next 4. Looks a little clunky for sure.
Yeah. What if they go just doing the 5 and 4 math?
Yeah.
What if they go 2-1 against the Astros, swept again by the Yankees, and then come back and sweep the Pirates to get their 5 wins? Would you feel good? You probably feel good about that, at least because you're 5 and 4. You're coming off a sweep, coming back home, but then you'd be 0-6 against the Yankees and the whole the Yankees mystique thing. I think like punch back against win a couple games against the Yankees, for God's sakes. Yeah. They are legitimate. I mean, that lineup is ridiculous. They've got pitching, but by the way, so if the Dex plan hits, if they go 5 and 4 here, that would put them at a 90 win pace coming out of this road trip, going into like almost 40% of the season, like 35% of the season done. So it's pretty. Hey, I think they're playing at a 90 win pace right now, quite frankly, and that's without their best position player, who's going to join them on this road trip. I would assume he's a huge part of this road trip, Royce Lewis.
Yeah, he will. He'll join them in New York. Pending an injury here on game 1 of the series, they're not gonna send him all the way to Houston, then fly him again back to New York. He's just gonna stick in St. Paul, or stick in New York, where they are in Rochester, and then join the Twins when they play the Yankees. They have an off day, so Twins will land in New York Sunday night, off day Monday, 3-game series against the Yankees. Tuesday through Thursday.
Some short porches out there.
So what? So give me your prediction then. First game, Royce back, Declan. What is your prediction for who is playing where, since Royce will be back at third base, most likely?
Yeah, so Royce at third, Correa at short, Kyle Farmer at second, maybe Willie Castro. I think it's Julian.
Julian's out.
I think it's Julian.
He should be. He should go down. I have no problem
with it. It was weird. So it was weird yesterday. So Kepler pinch hits to deliver an RBI single that helps build the rally, and they end up getting a big win. Where I am in the press box, I'm on like more of the side above, kind of like directly above the middle of the Twins dugout. The other portion of the press box where the broadcasters are and where some of the media people sit, they said Julian originally was going to come up to the plate, and then it was Kepler at the last second, which I found really interesting and weird. Now, Baldelli also didn't pitch hit for Manuel Margot, which led to the at-bat for Correa where he clears the bases, and that was righty on righty. Like, Larnach was on the bench, Kirilloff was on the bench, Julian was still on the bench. They stick with Margot, who works a brilliant walk and then leads to the Correa bases-clearing triple. But I think it's Julian. Castro played second for an inning. Julian he closed out the game in the top of the 9th at second base defensively.
See, it's fun. Look how far we've come. He's gone from being an offensive juggernaut that you replace defensively because you're nervous, to now like being a defensive late inning replacement who can't make contact.
I mean, he's lost his leadoff spot. He was batting 8th, And look, he had a really good game on Monday. And even thought, oh, maybe this spurs him here. I mean, he's basically playing for roster time. There was thought to giving up on maybe or sending down Larnach or Kirilloff. I doubt that's going to be the case. Kirilloff's turned his year around. Larnach's batting leadoff right now against righties. So I think the signs honestly point to Edward Julian going down.
Yeah.
Fair.
Interesting, man. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, so the Dex Plan is 5 wins out of 9 games on this road trip. The Astros are trying to keep their season alive here. They've
slumped back down though. They're 4-6 now in their past 10 because they got really hot like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yep, they're 7 games under 500 and they're 5.5 out. So they still think, and that division's very gettable because the Mariners are only 4 games above 500. Nobody else is above 500. So as long as that division's gettable, but you can kind of this is the thing. The Astros have some fun assets to trade off and maybe even trade off to you in a month if you're 2 months, I guess it would be. But you can help put another nail in their coffin here. Get some revenge for that postseason series from last year. But boys, let's do an Immaculate Grid. We saw the Twins on the grid last weekend, and so we're going to bring it to the show here on this Friday, presented by our friends over at EcoFun, which is your summertime home for fun on the pavement and on the water. On the pavement front, scooters, motorcycles, ATVs, side-by-sides, electric bikes. On the waterfront, which you can find these great items at the Forest Lake location, EcoFun in Forest Lake. They have Kawasaki's Yamaha watercraft, 2024 fully stocked line of those top brands. Stop into one of the EcoFun locations in Forest Lake or Burnsville. Tell them Score North sent you, and you can snoop around at ecofunmotorsports.com, ecofunmotorsports.com. Here's how the Immaculate Grid works for those who are new. We're going to pop this up for the YouTube audience. We're looking to fill 9 squares, and ideally, we're looking to put obscure players or options because there's a rarity score, and we're looking to have the lowest possible rarity score. But it might be kind of tough because there's a Hall of Fame column here. So here's what this looks like. We're looking for a Twins player who was also in the Hall of Fame, a Twins player who also played for the Giants, and a Twins player who scored 100 runs in a season. Then we're looking for a player who played at least 1 game in center field who's also a Hall of Famer, a player who played at least 1 game in center field who was a Giant, and a center fielder who had 100 runs in a season. And then we're looking for a 40 home run season who was a Hall of Famer, a 40 homer Giant, and a 40 homer who also had 100 runs in a season. They can be separate. This is going to be a good one. Judd,
fun.
do you hate this because there's weird categories, or are you coming around to... Declan and I love these, by the way.
I love the Saturday grid. Love the Saturday grid.
You know what? It's okay. It's not terrible. It's not the worst one. I do like the fact that there is the room for the Giant Twin crossover.
I didn't. I've told you guys before. I've asked Rocco about this, and apparently, it's their pregame ritual. They do it as a coaching staff.
That's awesome.
And he didn't know about the Saturday grids because they sometimes they don't do it every day, but they try to do it at least on home games. And he had no idea that it's a stat category based one on Saturday, and he was telling me how now I have to check it out and see what.
So he likes the more statistically heavy grid.
Yeah,
and he can't use himself. He's not allowed to use Rocco. They can't use him for any Rays, Red Sox type of grid.
Well, Judd, we should probably start with the Twins row here, right? Knock out the Twins.
Yeah, sure.
Should we do Giant first? Should we try to do a team and team?
Yeah, and I've got it. I've got the one.
Okay.
I covered. I think we've used him before because I feel like I've brought his name up on the grid. But I covered the 2010 through 2013 Twins on the beat, and at one point they either traded for or claimed a pitcher from the Giants organization. But he was on their he was a major leaguer for the Giants, and they snagged him. His name was Eric Hacker, and Eric Hacker was he racked up a bunch of pitcher wins in the Giants organization, and then maybe even in his rookie year with the Giants. But he was an absolute dud, it turned out. But that's the most obscure one I covered.
Yep.
That was a Twin and a Giant. Eric Hacker. If you guys have other ones, feel free to.
Not that good. Okay. I vaguely
Eric
remember
with
the
a
last
C?
name.
Yeah, Eric Hacker.
There
There
he
you
is.
go.
Okay.
What's this going to be?
0.02%.
0.02. Let's go, dudes.
Oh, look at that. Look at that good-looking young man, Eric Hacker. So, Hall of Fame, or do you want to go 100-plus run season?
We can do Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, it's like we've had this before with the Twins,
Just
where
have to do,
Steve
no,
Carlton or
Yeah, exactly.
Jim
Past
Thome,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
And we can use
Jim Cott.
we can still use Twins players, for these other stat category ones that are stat based.
Yeah, we could get pretty far with Twins players on this whole grid.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yep.
like Hall of Fame center fielder Kirby Puckett, Paul Molitor. In terms of Hall of Famers that might be obscure, Jim Cott, Steve Carlton, Dave Winfield. Who else passed through?
Yeah, Steve Carlton's probably the best one, right?
Yeah,
For the Twins. I mean, he
was
barely
there for a
like
fleeting moment.
Yeah. Mistaken for a Secret Service agent at the '87 White House gathering by the Pioneer Press.
Yeah, it's hilarious. We going Steve Carlton?
Should we do it?
I think you're fine with Steve Carlton. I don't think it's going to be real big.
It's going to be like 2%, right? 1%. 1%. Let's
That's
go.
good. Now that's
Very nice.
People do not
Very
recall
nice.
that outside
Very
the
nice.
state.
My wife, Steve Carlton. You
All
want
right.
to have this?
Okay, Twins players to score 100 runs in a season.
So leadoff guys are obviously going to be a
Nobby.
big one here.
Gladden.
Dozier did it a
Doge.
few times. Yeah.
Doge would fit the 40 homer 100 run category in that
Ooh.
bottom right corner.
Oh.
That's a good one. I like that.
Actually, should we just fire that, you think?
Yeah, that's good.
Are there any other? I'm trying to think of more obscure
That's really obscure.
No,
100
that's-
run 40 homer. It doesn't have to be a
No.
twin. It can be any
Correct.
player that
Yep.
had 40 homers.
No,
and 100 runs.
because that's a surefire one, and I think it's obscure. Yeah,
Ryan Dozier.
Doge.
0.3.
0.3.
Yeah,
The Doge.
that's a great call there.
Stuff.
Okay, twin old school. When Zoilo was the MVP, he was definitely a 100-run scorer, but he was an MVP. I mean, that's old school enough. Zoilo Versailles. I mean, Nobby had 140 runs in a season once.
Mm-hmm.
Puckett, Cuddy
I think
Cuddy had 100 and 100 in 1 year. I'm pretty sure.
Did he? Wow. Okay. I know he had a
His
couple.
06 his 06 season.
Yeah. Cuddy would be good. I don't feel great about that.
You're not sure that he did
Yeah.
it? Phil seems pretty sure.
But if it feels sure, I'll defer.
Cuddy
100
had-
RBI for sure, but 100 runs scored, that's a lot of runs for like a guy batting fifth or
Yeah, but
sixth.
he just ran through all stop signs.
I'm 100% sure Cuddy had both
Okay.
a 100-run and a 100 RBI season.
Yeah, because he
Okay.
ignored the third base.
Having
coach.
stared at Baseball Reference during that era.
Yeah.
The question is that more obscure than like Killebrew, Carew, Zoilo, just
Yeah.
like the old school guys.
I
that
feel
are-
like Killebrew and Carew are going to be
Yeah.
a frequent answer.
I think Cuddy's a good one here.
All right, let's do it.
old Cuddy
Michael Goodire.
be under 3%. 3%.
3%.
There you go.
Cool.
There you go.
We should have like a side game if you can guess the. I feel like I'm really good at guessing the percentage that it's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a weird. It's like one of my 3 skill sets in life.
All right.
Okay, where do you guys want to go here? Here's a giant center fielder. So my Aunt Sandy and Uncle Rob have lived in the Bay Area for 40 years, and when I was a kid, my teams were Twins #1, Cubs #2, family in Chicago, and I'd go to Giants games in San Francisco as a kid. So I remember a lot of like 90s Giants. Stan Javier, Willie McGee in the early 90s was a center
Yep.
fielder for them.
Yep.
Stan Javier. I think Marvin Bernard.
Oh, Judd's guy that he always talked about recently, Kevin Pillar.
Kevin
He was with
Pillar
the
was a
Giants.
giant.
It's kind of a random guy.
Pillar.
Maybe not as random as you're saying, but
I wonder if Gladdy moved. This is a
Ooh,
total guess, but I mean,
probably.
he came up as a left fielder. Obviously, I wonder if he ever snuck
And-
in.
and
center.
just
I would
had-
not. I do not know that.
and just has to play a defensive inning like that.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all this qualifies as.
Could go for broke, but I'm not positive.
Randy Wynn, Aaron Rowand. They've had a lot of dudes,
Oh,
just
God,
random ass dudes roam around center field.
Yes, they have.
Dan Gladden's a great one
if it's right. It's very chancy.
Man,
For sure, a left fielder, right?
Yes.
That was his primary position.
just sneak in there for a minute. How many
Yeah.
years did he play for the Giants? Was it 2?
Yeah, a couple.
That's not a lot, but again, just an inning.
Like
Right.
we know we can use any of the ones that I just named.
Randy Wynn was a good one. I'm trying to think of like in the 70s who was.
Angel or Angel or Angel Pagan,
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I love. Yeah.
On Pagan, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
the flowing hair.
Let's pick one of them.
Which one of those? I would say either Stan Javier or Randy Wynn.
Stan Javier.
Yep.
Real quick though, the problem is like we don't. There's Giants fans that are playing this too, and
Correct.
a
How long
Stan
did he-
Javier to them might be like a Shane Mack to us.
Rich
or,
Becker
you know.
to us. We like
Yeah.
Rich Becker. I love Rich Becker. All right.
Did he spend the majority of his career in San Francisco?
I think. I mean, he was like a multi-year player in the mid '90s for San
Okay.
Francisco. Yeah.
Who was the other guy you said?
Randy Wynn?
I feel
he
like
was
Stan
he was a
Javier-
Ray.
Yeah, I feel like
Glenn
Stan
Allen
Jav-
Hill's another one too.
Yeah, I feel like Stan Javier is going to be more rare than Wynn.
Okay.
Wynn actually has a Giants bobblehead, which concerns me. Because I
What?
think he was popular. There's a
Alright.
Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll pull it.
Stan Javier.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
wait. Randy
go-
Wynn or
Ju-
Stan Javier?
Judd is
Stan-
saying Stan Javier.
Stan Javier. Go with him because I think he is. It's longer ago.
Oh, this is hilarious. Come on.
Point two.
Oh, point two.
yeah,
Let's go.
Yeah,
Okay, so
'cause
he
it's
played
old.
for the A's according to this.
and
photo.
it's old.
I remember
Long time ago.
I have a Stan Javier baseball card, like a Don Russ Stan Javier baseball card.
So would Dave Winfield? Did Dave play center? You played
Him,
center, right?
pretty sure at some point in his career played all outfield positions, right?
So Dave would work for all three or these three squares,
Oh.
right?
he would probably. I
Yeah.
would assume that he would
Yeah.
for sure work for the
I don't know.
Hall
Did,
of Fame
did he
40.
play? Did he play center for the Padres? Because he did. I don't think he played there for the Yankees. But I mean, again, it could just be an inning, like we're talking about Gladden.
Yeah. Also, like Kirby Puckett for Hall of Fame center field. Twins fans might use him.
Yeah.
You want to go old school because sometimes old school works really well in these categories. Cool Papa Bell. You could turn the lights off and hop in bed before it got dark. That'd be a center fielder who's a Hall of Famer. And
Papa
probably
Bell?
Cool Papa Bell.
There it is.
It's an old school option.
0.4.
Point 4.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. All right.
Okay. So we have 3 squares left. We're doing very well here. We need a 40 home run hitter who's in the Hall of Fame, a Giants 40 home run hitter,
It's gonna be tough.
and then a center fielder who also scored 100 runs in a season. What that's going to be the most wide open category. I mean, Judd, think about all the old school Devon White, Kenny Lofton, Marquise Grissom.
80s and 90s are filled with
Torrey.
Yeah.
E.T.
Oh, runs
Willie McGee.
scored though. Did Torrey score 100?
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure. Brett Butler, these
Yeah.
base stealing
Did
outfielders who scored a bunch of leadoff
did
guys.
Shane Mack get to 100? And did he play center?
Shane Mack definitely played center and is one of the more underrated players in Twins history.
Yeah, he switched. He flipped with Puck. Eventually, Puck moved to right, and Shane Mack played center.
I mean, that'd be. I think that'd be low as hell if he got to 100 runs.
I mean, he was an on-base machine for winning
Yeah.
teams.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah, if he scored.
Jim Edmonds.
Jim Edmonds is
another
good. Love me some Jim Edmonds.
I mean, Shane Mack's going to be. If that's right,
Otis Nixon.
it's the lowest. Otis Nixon.
Do we want to roll the dice with Shane Mack or Torrey? Do we feel comfortable?
I think I'm more confident in Shane Mack than Torrey Hunter because Shane Mack was an on-base machine
Sure.
and
Shane Mack's
he hit at the top of like really good batting orders. Like 91.
Yep, and he's going to
92,
be
93.
If this is right, he's going to be incredibly low.
Guys,
Screw it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, pull it.
Here we
Let's
go.
do it.
Pull
Let's
it.
do it.
Pull it.
Point oh three.
Oh, nice work. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that
stash.
mustache, man.
Look at Stan Javier had the great stash. Shane Mack had the great stash. Steve Carlton's eyebrows are incredible, by the way.
The for Giants 40 home run hitter, the only one I can think of. Well, no, two. Matt Williams in the mid 90s hit 40 home runs, maybe a couple times.
Willie McCovey, right?
McCovey, but he's a Hall of Famer, right? Melott was a New York Giant. Melott was a career New York Giant, 500 home run club, and it counts, right? San Francisco
Yep.
and New York Giants.
Yeah, New York Giants. Yep.
Yep.
Melott.
So,
I feel like that's a good one.
We've used him a bunch. We've got our go-to like Jimmy Fox, Mel Ott, these old power hitters.
5.
Oh,
Five.
wow.
5%.
Five.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Interesting.
That's fine.
I mean, if you think of Giants history,
All right.
Barry Bonds, Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Matt Williams did. We already picked the square.
Did George Foster hit 40 plus with the
Ooh.
Giants?
That's a good one.
He hit. He was for a long time. He was the last guy to hit 50. I think he did it with the Reds in like 77.
Yeah. Who was
But he
the?
started
Did
with the-
Jeff Kent hit 40? Doesn't matter now. We already
Did
picked.
Jeffrey
no.
Leonard hit 40? One flap down. That was a great home run trot when he would have one flap
Hall
down.
of Fame.
40
We have one.
plus.
We have one square left.
this
Hall of
is-
Famers who hit 40 bombs in a season.
So I feel like
Old
Tommy will
school.
even be too high.
Killebrew?
Hack Wilson,
Killebrew,
Yeah, Hack
Joe
Wilson.
DiMaggio, Hank Greenberg,
Hank Greenberg.
Mel Ott would have counted. Jimmy Fox. Like, think about the old guys on the 500 home run list. I had a VHS tape from like 1995 that my dad got me that
Jimmy
highlighted
Fox might be good.
Jimmy Fox?
Mickey Mantle,
That's gonna be no. I think you're
Ted
best
Williams.
to go up to
Dave Winfield.
Dave Winfield. Well, wait, hold on. Did he hit?
I don't know. He hit
Was
40
it Eddie?
plus.
There was a guy. Was it Eddie Murray? One of those guys like never. Well, Hank Aaron never had 50,
And neither
Correct.
did Harmon, right? Harmon never had 50 either.
but he had a bunch of 40s.
He had a bunch of
Harmon
40s.
would work. Harmon would work here.
Harmon
I
would
think he
work.
had 49.
Do you want to? Do you want to go with like a Hack Wilson or like a? I mean, Killebrew, man. Twins fans are gonna guess him, but
Yeah,
Use him
that's the
just for-
thing is exactly. A lot of
Killer.
these guys aren't.
Ernie
good.
Banks. Ernie Banks.
All right.
Killer.
Let's do Harmon. Should we do Harmon?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Okay,
pull
let's
it,
do
pull
Harmon.
it.
Come on now.
He was
Yeah,
4.
4%.
He was
Very
4%.
4%. So 14
job.
rarity score. Nice job, guys.
Good job.
Good grid. Good showing.
Let's see if George Foster.
Oh, look at that. Only 8 options for giant 40 home run hitters, and that goes back. What's the origins of the franchise for New York Giants? I mean, that's like 150 years of history.
I mean, not a lot of guys. Mel Ott actually only did it once. So
What? He's a 500 home run hitter, baby.
yeah, he did it once with the New York Giants. He has one season. So it gives me all the lists here. So Bonds obviously did it like 9 times. Willie Mays did it like 7 times. Willie McCovey did it a couple times. Johnny Mize did it a couple times.
Johnny Mize.
Yeah, Johnny Mize.
And Mel Ott only had one 40 home run season
Interesting.
and hit
who's
511 of them.
Just for future reference, I'm pretty sure there's a 500 home run hitter that never had 40, and it's either Eddie Murray. I might be way wrong on this. I'm gonna Google Eddie Murray.
What am I doing?
Eddie Murray. Yes, 504 career home runs.
Didn't have 40.
The most he ever had in one season was 33 in 1983. Just a steady diet of 20 and 30 home run seasons for
Great,
20 years.
great switch hitter, man. What a player he was.
Yep. So another
Got
grid
500
conquered.
540 options for that center field 100 square, and we got a .03.
It's pretty good, man. Let's look up
On
Shane
Shane
Mack
Mack,
real
man.
quick. Shane Mack, he was like an on-base wins above replacement machine before people cared about that. So, okay, it was narrowly. Yeah, 1992, he played all three outfield positions. He batted 315, 394 OBP, 101 runs scored, 16 bombs, 26 stolen bases. I mean,
hell of a
man.
player. If I'm not mistaken,
Great player.
the Padres lost Shane Mack and Dave Hollins on the same day in the Rule 5 draft.
Wow. Brutal.
I think the Phillies took Hollins and the Twins took Shane Mack.
And then, yeah, he was like just a flash of light. But then did he miss 2 years with injury? What happened in like 95, 96? He was just kind of done.
Yeah, I don't.
And then he went to Boston, but oh man. So there's your grid, boys. Immaculate Grid.
Good stuff.
Successful.
Nice work.
On the Score North Twin Show. Thank you guys for helping get to 3,000 subscribers on the brand new Score North Twin Show YouTube channel. We're building this thing. Now that the Wolves have stepped aside, it's Vikings off season, tons of Twins content, almost on a daily basis on the Score North Twin Show podcast, Apple, Spotify, and the brand new YouTube channel. We'll see if the Dex Plan 4.0 can come to fruition.